Number 1 needs a Star Trek, Strange New Worlds love story, and I have the perfect crazy idea for her partner. When Star Trek, Strange New Worlds premiered, one of its quiet triumphs was how it breathed life into characters who had previously been underexplored footnotes in franchise lore. None exemplifies this better than Commander Una Chin Riley, better known by her nickname Number 1. Majestic, poised, and fiercely loyal, Una has always been the epitome of the perfect first officer, but beneath that immaculate Starfleet uniform lies a character who deserves more than simply carrying Captain Pike's burdens. Strange New Worlds has already given her a strong arc, her struggle with Illyrian identity, her loyalty to her captain, and her leadership under pressure. But what it hasn't given her is something deeply human and yes, very Starfleet, a love story. And not just any love story, one that could elevate her character beyond the bridge into something unforgettable. So here's my crazy idea. The perfect romantic partner for Number 1 is not a fellow officer, not a recurring crew member, and not even someone from the Federation. It should be a rogue Romulan defector, an enemy who forces her to confront her own guardedness while challenging her loyalty to Starfleet in ways no one else could. Let's break down why this works, why Una deserves it, and how it could become one of Strange New Worlds' most daring arcs yet. Why Una deserves a love story. From the very beginning of the original series, Star Trek was never shy about giving its commanding officers romantic plots. Captain Kirk had them almost weekly. Riker in The Next Generation practically had a subplot devoted to his charm. Even more serious characters like Spock and Picard found themselves entangled in love stories that revealed new facets of their personalities. But Number 1? She's been consistently portrayed as so composed, so efficient, that intimacy feels like a territory unexplored. Even when she went on trial for hiding her Illyrian heritage, much of her emotional vulnerability was framed through loyalty and duty, not romantic or personal connection. That absence feels deliberate. The writers have kept her aloof, perhaps in fear that giving her a romance might compromise her aura of unshakable professionalism. But that's precisely why she needs one. Her story shouldn't just be about strength and secrets. It should also be about choosing connection despite fear. A love story wouldn't weaken her, it would deepen her. The problem with the obvious partners. If Strange New Worlds decided to give Una a romance, the easy choices are already in plain sight. Captain Pike. Their bond is undeniable, and the two clearly share mutual trust and affection. But any romantic entanglement would feel like a betrayal of that professional respect, and it would reduce her to yet another XO in love with the captain trope. Strange New Worlds is too bold to fall into that trap. Lon Noonien Singh. Some fans have floated the possibility of exploring queer representation through Una and Lon, given their mentor-protege bond. While compelling, Lon's arc is already focused on trauma, isolation, and her complicated ties to legacy. Airing them risks collapsing both characters' stories into a single knot of angst rather than expanding them outward. A random guest star, Star Trek is littered with Planet of the Week romances that are forgotten by the next episode. Number 1 deserves something more enduring, something that tests her values and lingers beyond one story arc. So, who's left? That's where my wild idea comes in. Enter the rogue Romulan defector. The Romulans have always been one of Starfleet's most fascinating adversaries, proud, secretive, and locked in a perpetual Cold War with the Federation. Strange New Worlds already teased them in the brilliant Balance of Terror Mirror episode. But what if Una's love story came from within that shadowy culture? Imagine this. The Enterprise intercepts a small, badly damaged Romulan ship drifting near the neutral zone. A lone survivor beams aboard, a Romulan intelligence officer who has chosen to defect, seeking asylum. Suspicion is immediate. Pike is cautious. Spock is analytical. Lon wants to throw them in the brig. But Starfleet protocol requires investigation. And who does Pike assign to watch over the defector? His most trusted officer, Una. At first, it's all hostility. The Romulan sees Una as a jailer. Una sees them as a liar. But slowly, through late-night guarded conversations, shared tactical debates, and glimpses of vulnerability, a strange rapport begins to grow. The twist? The Romulan defector isn't just running from the Empire. They've specifically sought out the Enterprise because they've heard whispers of Starfleet's fairness and of Una herself. Why a Romulan works so perfectly. 1. Mirroring Una's own secret identity. Just as Una hid her Illyrian heritage for fear of persecution, the Romulan is hiding their defection for fear of betrayal. Both carry shame and secrecy, making them natural foils. Their connection would be less about instant attraction and more about recognition. You're like me. 2. Conflict with duty. For Una, romance with another Starfleet officer would be safe. With a Romulan, it's forbidden fruit. She'd have to reconcile her ironclad sense of duty with the undeniable pull of personal connection. That's drama on a Shakespearean level. 3. A political dimension. Romulan-Federation relations are fragile in this era. If Una were romantically linked with a Romulan, even one who defected, it would carry huge political consequences. It could even ripple forward, influencing how the Romulans perceive the Federation in decades to come. 4. Expanding Trek's themes. Star Trek has always been about crossing boundaries, cultural, personal, cosmic. A love story between Una and a Romulan would embody that spirit of radical connection. It would say, even with our greatest enemies, we can find understanding. How the story could unfold. Here's one possible arc. Episode 1, The Defector. The Enterprise rescues the Romulan. Suspicion reigns. Una interrogates them but discovers cracks in their facade, hints of disillusionment with the Empire. Episode 2, The Watcher. Una is tasked with monitoring them. She sees their resilience, their intelligence, and their humor in rare, unguarded moments. They challenge her, mocking her Federation optimism. Yet she notices they're secretly reading Federation philosophy. Episode 3, Shadows of Illyria. During a crisis, the Romulan learns Una's secret Illyrian heritage. Instead of condemning her, they respect her survival. This mutual vulnerability shifts their dynamic. Episode 4, Between Stars. A mission forces them to work together, perhaps a dangerous infiltration requiring the Romulans' insider knowledge. In the heat of danger, trust blossoms into intimacy. Season finale, The Choice. Starfleet orders the Romulan transferred for intelligence debriefing, effectively erasing them from Una's life. She must choose, follow duty, or fight to protect the fragile connection they've built. Even if they part ways, the romance could remain a defining scar on Una's character, shaping her for seasons to come. The potential fallout. A love story like this wouldn't just be about Una's happiness, it would shake the crew in fascinating ways. Pike would be torn between his loyalty to Una and his captain's duty to uphold Starfleet law. Spock would see the logic in the defector's perspective but struggle with Una's emotional involvement. Lon would resent the risk Una takes, fearing betrayal. Chapel and M'Benga would quietly support Una, valuing compassion over caution. That's a recipe for a juicy character drama across the entire bridge crew. Why, it's the perfect crazy idea. Some might say Star Trek should avoid soap operatic romances, but Strange New Worlds THR